All right, let's jump right in. The year is 50 BC, and the Roman Empire is the undisputed superpower of the world. But down in Egypt, a very proud, very powerful queen isn't about to bow to anyone. What we've got here is a story of clashing egos, incredible ambition, and one seriously impossible deadline.
We are diving into the pages of an absolute legend, Gaucini and Uderzo's Asterix and Cleopatra. It's a classic adventure where a massive clash between two great empires boils down to a single, wild construction project.
So, how does this whole thing kick off? Well, it all starts with a massive argument. You have Queen Cleopatra hosting Julius Caesar in her palace, but Caesar isn't exactly being a gracious guest. In his usual, arrogant Roman way, he starts running his mouth, telling her that Egypt's glory days are over.
I mean, can you believe the nerve? He tells her right to her face, "Your people are decadent. The great Egypt is no more." To say that to the Queen of Egypt in her own home, well, that's like lighting a match next to a barrel of gunpowder. You just don't do that. And Cleopatra, who is not known for backing down, is pushed into making a truly outrageous bet.
And her comeback is just epic. She bets Caesar that she can build him a spectacular new palace right there in Alexandria. The catch, and it is a huge catch, she's going to do it in just 3 months. 3! If she pulls it off, Caesar has to publicly admit that Egyptians are still the greatest builders in the world. The stakes couldn't be higher. It's all about national pride.
So who gets stuck with this impossible job? Cleopatra calls in her best architect, a guy named Artifis. But this isn't the kind of project you celebrate getting. The queen makes the terms crystal clear. Succeed, and you get all the gold you can imagine. Fail, and you become lunch for her pet crocodiles. So yeah, no pressure at all, right?
Artifis is, understandably, freaking out. He knows this task is humanly impossible. But then, he remembers these stories, these whispers of a tiny village of Gauls that the Romans can't conquer. Why? Because their druid has a magic potion that gives them superhuman strength. In total desperation, he makes the long journey to Gaul to find this druid, Getafix.
Okay, so before this gets even crazier, we've got to talk about the other key players in this drama. First, you've got Artifis, our brilliant but totally terrified architect. Then there's his rival, Artifis, a nasty piece of work who would love nothing more than to see Artifis get fed to the crocodiles. And trailing behind him is his scribe, Ex Libris, who always seems to get roped into these terrible schemes.
So the stage is set, an impossible task, a queen's honor on the line, and a jealous rival just waiting to sabotage everything. If you want to see how this incredible challenge plays out, now's a great time to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, because the real adventure is just getting started.
So of course, the Gauls can't resist a good underdog story, especially when it's a chance to stick it to the Romans. Getafix agrees to help, and he, Asterix, and Obelix all travel to Egypt. They get to the construction site, and it is pure chaos. But then, Getafix works his magic, literally. He brews up the potion, and the effect is, well, it's instantaneous.
And the change is just, wow, it's night and day. Suddenly, workers who could barely lift 1 stone are tossing around a dozen like they're pebbles. Jobs that should have taken weeks are getting done in a matter of hours. The palace starts shooting up at a speed that's just mind-boggling.
Of course, not everyone is happy about this miracle. The rival architect, Artifis, is watching all this and just losing his mind. He immediately starts trying to sabotage the project. First, he tries to start a workers' strike. That doesn't work. Then he tries to cut off the supply of stone. But Obelix just carves a whole new quarry out of a cliff. Every plan fails.
With all his simple plans blowing up in his face, Artifis decides to get a lot darker. He comes up with this friendly offer to give our Gallic friends a personal tour of the Great Pyramid. His real plan? To lead them deep inside and leave them there to get lost in the maze of tunnels forever.
And just like that, the trap is sprung. Imagine it. The air is thick and stale, smelling of ancient dust and thousand-year-old stone. The corridors twist and turn in the darkness. For a moment, it really seems like this could be the end for them, a permanent tomb deep beneath the sands.
But there's one tiny detail Artifis didn't factor into his brilliant plan: Obelix's approach to problem-solving. His solution for being trapped in an ancient labyrinth? Just punch your way out. Wham! He smashes a hole right through an exterior wall. So much for the inescapable maze. You're seeing the pattern here, right? Every complicated scheme just gets steamrolled by simple Gallic logic and strength.
Since we're getting to the really good part, if you're enjoying this, please take a second to like and subscribe. It really helps us make more explainers like this one. With all his other plans in ruins, Artifis cooks up one final, venomous plot.
Okay, so Artifis is done messing around. This time, he goes for the ultimate frame-up: treason. He has this gorgeous cake baked, but he secretly laces it with poison. He then has it delivered to Cleopatra as a gift from the Gauls, trying to make it look like they're assassins. And the punishment for that? It's not going to be pretty.
So the queen's official taster takes a bite, and boom, he collapses. It looks like the plan worked. But Getafix, who is always about 10 steps ahead of everyone, just calmly strolls over and gives the taster an antidote he had ready. After the guy is revived, Asterix just looks at the ruined cake and says, "It's a crying shame. Such a good-looking cake, too." The plot is exposed, and Artifis is finished.
But just when you think the bad guys are defeated, the final boss enters the game. Julius Caesar himself sees the palace is almost done. Realizing he's about to lose the bet, he does what any sore loser would do. He decides to cheat. He orders his legions to attack the construction site and tear it down. A full-on siege begins.
Asterix thinks fast and manages to get a message to Cleopatra. And let me tell you, she is not happy to hear that a Roman army is destroying her brand new palace. She shows up in all her royal fury, brings the battle to a screeching halt, and demands to know what on earth Caesar thinks he's doing. The look on his face must have been priceless.
And this is it, the big payoff. Standing there in front of her magnificent, fully completed palace, Cleopatra turns to a totally humiliated Caesar and drops the mic. And now, great Caesar, admit that the Egyptians are still great builders. He has absolutely no choice but to agree. She won.
Just think about that. 3 months, an entire palace, built from scratch, all to win a bet and defend her nation's honor. It was a completely impossible wager, and thanks to her Gallic friends, she pulled it off. So what happens to everyone? Well, it's a pretty satisfying wrap-up. Caesar tucks his tail between his legs and goes back to Rome. Edifis, our once terrified architect, is showered with gold. Artifis gets his punishment. He has to go work for Edifis. And our heroes? They get a massive celebration before sailing back home.
You know, at the end of the day, it's just a fantastic story about how friendship, a little ingenuity, and some superhuman strength can take on even the biggest bullies in the world. Hey, if you had fun walking through this classic tale with us, it would mean a lot if you'd hit that like button and subscribe for more explainers just like this one.
It really leaves you with a thought, doesn't it? What happens when you pit ancient magic against raw imperial ambition? Well, as this story shows us, the outcome is never, ever what you'd expect. Thanks for sticking with us.